This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
There will never be another like him. There never has been one like him, and there won't be anyone like him. We've had 45 presidents in the history, the 250-year history of this country, and there's never been anything like the cyclone we see operating out of the White House these days. You could hate him, love him, you could oppose him, you could support him, you could vote for him, you could want to impeach him. You cannot say he's not a man of action. You cannot say he doesn't back up his many, many words with action. And that's what Donald Trump is doing as we speak. It is just an amazing thing to watch. He's loud, he's obnoxious, he can be vulgar. We'll get to that. He's candid, he's outspoken, and yes, he's honest. I'm going to say, I know Democrats love to say, the media loves to say he's a liar. All he does is lie. I don't look at it that way. He lies about some things, exaggerates. He lies about his golf score and his club championships and his crowd size. And sometimes he'll lie about polls or ratings. But on the big stuff, I believe him. I believe he believed Iran was moving forward with their nuclear program. When he said they can't have a nuke, and he said it over and over again, he was saying the same thing every president since Bill Clinton has said. They're the ones who didn't back up their words with action. You did not get an action. You didn't get an operation, an attack to stop the nuclear program from Bill Clinton or George Bush or Barack Obama or Joe Biden. Yeah, let's review what we had for 4 years as Iran was building their nuclear program, as Iran was funding Hezbollah and Hamas and the Houthis with money from us, with $1.7 billion in cash that Barack Obama delivered to them, and they used it to kill Americans, kill Israelis, kill innocent people. That's what we had for 12 of the last 16 years. And this was our president for just 4 or 5 months ago. This was our president, and this was his foreign policy. This was his position when it came to a nuclear-armed Iran. It's hard to believe. This guy was in charge. Play it.
Mr. President, to Iran in this moment?
Don't.
Are American personnel and assets at risk, Mr. President?
That's it. Don't. One word. That was their official position. Kamala Harris went out and repeated it. Just said, don't. Amazing. They said don't, and Iran did. They said don't, and Hamas and Hezbollah did. They didn't listen. They didn't care. I mean, maybe it was as much as he could handle, as much as he could memorize. But it is remarkable the difference we're seeing right now. We're seeing a man who backs up his words, who takes threats seriously, who doesn't worry, like, what everyone going to say about me? What's the media going to think? You know, what are the polls going to show? He said, you must negotiate. You must stop your nuclear program. And they didn't, and they paid a price. I believe him when he says they were getting closer. Hell, as Marco Rubio explained, why else were they inside a mountain, 300 feet underground, to work on their civilian nuclear power program? Of course not. Of course they were building a nuclear weapon. When was it going to be ready? I'm not sure. I don't know. But they were in progress of doing it. He said, stop. He said, don't. And they did. And he blew it up. That's what Biden was supposed to. That's what Clinton and Bush and Obama was supposed to do. Only one man had the nerve, the spine, the guts, the courage to do it. Yes, I think this took courage. Here again is our last president when asked about the threat of Iran. Go ahead.
There's limited fighting already on the northern Israeli border, and I wonder, what is your message to Hezbollah and its backer, Iran? Don't. God, don't come across the border.
It's just embarrassing. That was our president. Now we got a guy who He ruffles a lot of feathers. He hurts a lot of feelings. He attacks the media, and I love it. I just trying to go over what's happened in the last 24 hours is going to be quite a task, but we're going to give it a shot. It feels like a month ago that Iran fired missiles at our base in Qatar that were, I got to even look back to see what it was. They fired 5 to 10, was it 5? Six missiles at our base, our biggest base in the Middle East. 5 of them were intercepted. 1 got through and caused no damage. Our troops are safe. We had 10,000 troops on that base, sitting ducks, but they did not inflict any damage, of course. And then Trump went out there and negotiated a ceasefire. Yes, he did. He negotiated a ceasefire, and they both violated it. It's hard to keep track. It's hard to go through the minute by minute, the play by play. But this is from Israel. This is from Netanyahu's office. According to Israel, the ceasefire was scheduled to take effect at 7 a.m. At 3 a.m., Israel launched a powerful strike in the heart of Tehran, targeting regime infrastructure and eliminating hundreds of Baji personnel and Iranian security personnel. Shortly before the ceasefire took effect, Iran fired a barrage of missiles, one of which struck Beersheba and claimed the lives of 4 Israeli civilians. At 7 a.m., the ceasefire came into effect. At 7:06, Iran launched another missile toward Israeli territory, followed by 2 more missiles at 10:25 a.m. All 3 were intercepted or landed in open areas, causing no casualties. In response, the Israeli Air Force destroyed a radar installation near Tehran. Following a phone call between Trump and Netanyahu, Israel refrained from carrying out additional strikes. During the conversation, President Trump conveyed his deep appreciation for Israel, which he said had accomplished all of the war's objectives. The president expressed confidence in the stability of the ceasefire. The ceasefire was violated by both sides, which pissed off Trump. But here we are, waiting to see. Does it now take effect? Do they now respect it? Do they want an end to this war? And if they do, we're done. We're done. Trump did. We're not going to know. Let's be honest. We're not going to know for years the damage we did with the B-2s and the bunker busters. We're not going to know for years if indeed these 2 sides will stop firing missiles at each other and dropping bombs. But if indeed the Israeli brings all their planes home and the missiles stop flying from Iran, it is a remarkable accomplishment. And Trump, at first, declared the ceasefire. Is this the ceasefire post? We're just trying to keep up with this. He is cranking out the posts on True Social. Like he's on the flight to Amsterdam right now, posting long post about AOC and Ilhan Omar. We'll get to that. But here's his post announcing the ceasefire. Congratulations to everyone. It's been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire in approximately 6 hours, at which point the war will be considered ended. Officially, Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire, and upon the 24th hour, an official end of the 12-day war will be saluted by the world. During each ceasefire, the other side will remain peaceful and respectful. On the assumption that everything works as it should, which it will, I'd like to congratulate both countries, Iran and Israel, on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what will be called the 12-day war. This is a war that could have gone on for years and destroyed the entire Middle East, but it didn't and never will. God bless Israel. God bless Iran. God bless the Middle East. God bless the United States of America. And God bless the world in all caps. That's your president. It is just an amazing thing to witness, watching this thing unfold in real time. Again, and I understand they both violated the ceasefire. I understand Iran shot a missile at an apartment building and killed a family of 4. That's horrific. Israel responded by taking out the radar installation. Good. We're done. We are done. I pray, I hope Trump is right. I hope this happens. Here's why I think it may indeed be the case. And before they're even done with this show, they could start the fighting all over again. But Israel, Iran should respect the ceasefire because they can't win. They don't control their own skies. They can't win. They know they can't win. They know that there's nothing good that can come from this if the war continues, if the firing continues. And Israel has to respect it because they need us. They need Trump. Netanyahu cannot shiv Trump in the back. Some people think he already has because he dragged us into this war. But again, it was stated policy by every president for 30 years that we were going to stop their nuke program. Trump said he would, and he did. So that you could blame Israel for bringing us into it, but Trump did what Trump said he was going to do. And we're done. We're done. Netanyahu has to respect that. He cannot backstab Trump at this point, or it could get really ugly. And Trump made it clear this morning, which I saw this first thing this morning. I mean, the guy is he's just relentless, tireless. Before boarding Marine One, heading to Air Force One, and heading to the NATO summit in Amsterdam, he had a brief appearance. And I don't know if you were like me. I saw this and I said, this can't be real. This has to be AI generated. And I kept looking, and it is real. It is a statement, a word choice we've never seen from a president. And I love it. I mean, this is a guy speaking from the heart. He's not happy that they violated the ceasefire, and he's going to be really unhappy if they continue to violate the ceasefire. Here he is talking before heading to Amsterdam.
Israel says that Iran violated the peace agreement and the ceasefire agreement. Do you believe that Iran is still committed to peace?
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
Are you questioning if Israel is committed?
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I'd never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because the one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
And he walks away. Oh, God, he is just unbelievable. That is your president. And I say this all the time. I say this to people I know who don't like Trump, who despise Trump, who went to no Kings rallies. I say, tell me why you don't like him. Tell me what he does that upsets you so much. Not what he says, not what he posts. What does he do that upsets you? And I would pose that question today. What has he done that upsets you? Taking out the nuclear facility buried in the mountain? Clinton said he wanted to do that. So did Bush. So did Obama. So did Biden. Trump said he was going to do it, and he did it. So if a guy keeps his promise, you have a big problem with that. You know what? They can't do it. They can't answer the question. What upsets you? That he closed the border? Does that upset you? Is that that he's trying to end wars? That he reached a ceasefire in the Middle East? That he had a ceasefire in India and Pakistan? What does he do that upsets you? You know why they can't answer it? Because that's not why they hate him. They hate him because of his personality, because of things he says that make them feel icky, because he swears, because he speaks off the cuff, because he posts kind of crazy stuff on occasion and mocks the other side and attacks the media. I love that stuff. Obviously, his supporters love that. There's not a single Trump supporter who saw that moment this morning and said, oh my God, it's offensive. He used the F word. Well, Democrats have come out. It's a strategy for the Democrats to swear more. We've seen it. They're all swearing every time they make an appearance. They're swearing on the House floor. It's what they do. And it's just Trump being himself. It's Trump being a straight shooter. He's not lying. He's not happy with them. And they better be careful because, again, Iran can't win. We could go back in there. They've seen what we can do. And Israel can't lose him. They can't lose Donald Trump. They can't lose the United States. I don't think Netanyahu's that dumb. He knows he can't turn his back. He can't do something Trump is telling him. You can't do that. You cannot keep bombing. You can't keep firing missiles. They have to respect him. They have to listen to him. He's strong. He's a leader. He's night and day different than the last walking corpse, the cadaver we had in the White House for 4 years. But there's so much more here. I mean, it's hard to top, congratulations, world. Congratulations, world. God bless Iran is something you thought you would never see. But he's also, let's be honest, he's just going nonstop here. He's got so much on his plate. We can get to that post about AOC, but let's get to the attack on the media. He's really pissed because CNN, MSNBC, others in the mainstream media are questioning whether we indeed took out their nuclear facility. There's all the rumors of, a truck snuck out with all the enriched uranium and they moved it somewhere else, and they indeed are still moving forward with their nuclear program. Here's my answer to that. You saw what we did Saturday night. Do you think it set back the program a little bit? You think if they were, 6 months away, you think maybe they're 5 years away now? Hell, we killed all their nuclear scientists. And I'm guessing 14 bunker buster bombs did enough damage to at least derail the program for years. And that's more than any other president. That's more than Israel could do. Only the U.S. could do this, and we did it. And if they're indeed going to return to building a nuke, that's their choice. We can do what we can to stop them, but I think we've done enough for now. We've done enough to delay it for years, would be my guess. But Trump's pissed because people are questioning whether the mission was indeed a success, and he just went off on CNN. Oh, I want you to play that clip where Caitlin, what's her face? Caitlin Collins reporting live. She finds out live that there's a ceasefire and she is not happy. This is a bad day for CNN, MSNBC, the New York Times. They're not happy because it looks like, and again, it's fluid. Things are changing every 5 minutes, but it looks like Trump played this masterfully. We'll find out, maybe not, but right now, it looks like he did what he said he's going to do. He ended a war, eliminated Iran's nuke capabilities, and now he's moving on, and he's warning them, don't. And if they indeed listen to him, it is an amazing achievement. Of course, he should win the Nobel Prize. He won't, but he should. But here's Caitlin, whatever her name is, Collins, with Anderson Cooper finding out indeed the fighting may be over. Good.
Now, we're hearing incredibly optimistic views coming out of the White House as far as how long this can hold and what this is going to look like. That obviously still remains to be seen on the implementation side of this, and waiting to see if the firing does stop and if Iran and Israel do both agree to this. Because, speaking of the fluidity of the situation, it was just 4 hours ago that President Trump himself was suggesting a regime change in Iran was a possibility. And obviously right before that, having the United States strike Iran. And so, yes, there have been a lot of phone calls going back and forth. In part, this has to do with Iran's limited response earlier, where they fired on a U.S. base in Qatar, but there were no casualties. We know that they did give a heads up that they were going to be firing on U.S. bases without exactly specifying which ones. But that is the question here, is if the United States felt that it did not need to respond to the Iranian retaliation, did that create the space for this? That is what we've been hearing from administration officials. And so the question is
get a call here.
This still holds for the next few hours.
Caitlin, I just been given word that Iran, according to a diplomat who briefed CNN, Iran has agreed to the ceasefire. So this is a significant. Just going to try to learn some more information as soon as we get it about that. But if that is the case, that's incredibly significant because that is, we were waiting. We had not heard from Iran. We had not heard from Israel. All we were going on so far has been the president's social media post, which was some 2 hours ago. So again, that is the first indication we have that Iran has agreed to this.
Right in the middle of her report, Anderson Cooper gets a text from a diplomat saying Iran agreed to it, and she couldn't look more disappointed. Sorry, Caitlin. Sorry, CNN, MSNBC. Everything is coming up Trump. I hate to break it to you, but at least for now, his plan is working. But I guess he's still not happy that CNN and MSNBC, he's never going to get over that. Again, he cares what these people say, which is a flaw in his character. He cares what Caitlin Collins or Joe Scarborough says about him. I wish he didn't. I wish he just ignored them and laughed at them and pretended they didn't exist. He admits in this clip that he watches CNN. Donald Trump admits that he watches CNN, and it pisses him off. We have Trump talking about CNN and MSNBC. This was this morning. Another just off the rails rant. Go ahead.
And the fake news, like CNN in particular, they're trying to say, well, I agree that it was destroyed, but maybe not that destroyed. You know what they're doing? They're really hurting great pilots that put their lives in the line. CNN is scum, and so is MSDNC. They're all, and frankly, the networks aren't much better. It's all fake news, but they should not have done that. Those pilots hit their targets. Those targets were obliterated, and the pilots should be given credit. They're not after the pilots, they're after me. They want to try and demean.
You don't believe that Iran can rebuild its nuclear program?
Iran will never rebuild its nuclear. From there? Absolutely not. That place is under rock. That place is demolished. The B-2 pilots did their job. They did it better than anybody could even imagine. They hit late in the evening. It was dark with no moon, and they hit that target with every one of those things, and that place is gone. But when I see CNN all night long, they're trying to say, well, maybe it wasn't really as demolished as we thought. It was demolished. You take a look at the pinpricks, and you see that place is gone. And I will say, I think CNN ought to apologize to the pilots of the B-2s. I think that MSDNC ought to apologize. I think these guys really, these networks and these cable networks are real losers. You really are. You're real losers.
I don't know why he lets it bother him. I really don't. He should just say, he always points out no one's watching, no one's listening, no one cares what they say, but it bothers him that they won't give him enough credit or give the pilots enough credit. I think the mission was a success. 0 casualties, no return fire. They didn't even know what hit them. We did what he promised we would do and did it spectacularly. He's right. So just take the W, Donald, and head to Amsterdam. I'm bracing. He's going to say some stuff in Amsterdam at this NATO summit. He's just feeling it right now. He's feeling jiggy. But all right, we got so much more to get to. Hell, we could do these Trump posts all day. But we're going to get to the New York mayor's race. That's today. They're going to elect a socialist Muslim in New York City today, and we'll tell you some of the stuff this radical nut plans to do in our biggest city. It's frightening to think about. At this point in time, as we're fighting, a Muslim theocracy in the Middle East, they're gonna elect a guy who yells "Globalize the Intifada" and "From the river to the sea." That guy, he's going to be the mayor of New York City, perhaps, unless Andrew Cuomo pulls it out, but the guy, Zohan Mamdani, is the favorite in this big race in New York. We'll get to that. And we got to get to, speaking of scum, Lindsey Graham is just scum. We got to get to what he said on the floor of the Senate yesterday. Just incredibly tone deaf, just insane. Lindsey Graham is a lunatic who should be ignored by everyone. We'll get to that. And of course, we'll have any late breaking news from Trump's Truth Social post. It is just, wow. It is just a wild day here in the United States of America. God bless Iran, says our president.
Excuse me.
If you've ever searched for your name or address on Google, it's shocking to find how many results have your personal information, and it's not by chance. Data brokers and people search sites, collect your personal information, your name, address, phone number, financial info, income, and hundreds of other records. They sell it and share it publicly without your consent. But Incogni is here to put an end to that. It hunts down these unethical sites and gets your info removed from the places that expose your private information. You don't have to email anyone, fill out forms, or jump through hoops. They handle the entire process for you. Incogni is also continually monitoring if your data is put back into these databases, requesting repeated removals. This way, it keeps them off there forever. So you get fewer spam calls, spam emails, and you get more peace of mind. And best of all, you can cancel anytime, and they offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can get it completely risk-free. Right now, you get 60% off an annual plan by going to incogni.com and use code word Callahan. That's Incogni, incogni.com/Callahan, and use the code word Callahan at checkout. You get 60% off and protect your data for an entire year. All right, here's the latest Truth Social post. We promise we will be monitoring it. Trump tweets, Trump posts. China can now purchase oil from Iran. Hopefully, they'll be purchasing plenty from the U.S. also. It was my great honor to make this happen. So the man never stops making deals. So China is free to purchase oil from Iran. I don't think they will do that if Iran closes the Straits of Hormuz. So there's the chess player in Trump, making sure the straits stay open and just de-escalating the situation. I think, I understand what he's up to. But we'll see. All right. And let me see. No, that's the latest. Oh, he goes off on Thomas Massey, and he goes off on Ilhan Omar and AOC. We'll get to that one. That could be his craziest post yet, but it's a good one. Before we get to the New York mayor's race, which is just madness, what's happening in New York today, I want to do Lindsey Graham because, God, this guy bothers me. I mean, I never really liked him. But consider where we are right now. We think, we hope, we pray that Trump played this perfectly, that the war is over, the 12-day war, that the fighting stops, that there's no more missiles fired at Israel and no more bombs dropped on Iran, and it's over, and we could move on, and there'll be a new dynamic in the Middle East. So while we sit here and say, let's hope it's over, this lunatic goes to the Senate floor, and what does he do? He makes the case that the Ayatollah must go. Trump's stepped back from the whole regime change thing after tweeting some weird thing about regime change, and, well, it's a politically correct term, and maybe it's good if they have a regime change. Trump's not talking about regime change. No sane person is. Let the 86-year-old Ayatollah stay in his bunker until he croaks, and then we'll see what happens. We do not endorse regime change, which will just lead to chaos. Anyway, this nut from South Carolina wants you to believe, I can't believe this is today or yesterday. I can't believe this is 2025. This sounds like something from 2003, talking again about Iraq or Libya. Ayatollah, according to Lindsey Graham, is just like Hitler. We're not buying this crap anymore, Lady G. You nut. I mean, he should be shunned by polite society. I know he'll be on Hannity tonight, probably, talking like this, but we're not listening anymore. We're not buying it anymore. You can't bring Hitler into this thing. We can go over the differences. We did it the other day. Do you think the Ayatollah's ready to, conquer all his neighbors? You think the Ayatollah is a threat to the world? He's going to dominate the world? The guy can't even control his own airspace. He can't beat a country of 9 million people, a little tiny sliver of a land in the Middle East. Got his ass kicked. And now he's, and today, this guy is telling you he's Hitler? Listen to this.
It's about a religious agenda. Why do they do what they do? Religious, fanatical beliefs, a master religion for the world. And if you don't believe that, you have missed a lot. That's what they want. And the only way they're not going to get there is for somebody to stop them. What did Hitler want? To take over the entire world and create a master race. Anybody that didn't fit his definition of the right kind of person, was imprisoned or killed. The Ayatollah and his henchmen have that same view, but it's religiously driven.
So what? Can they do it? That's the question. Lindsay, can they conquer the world? You think that's going to happen? There are like 50 Muslim countries. They all would love to impose their religion on the world. They can't do it. Should we bomb them all? You know, his answer to that would be yes, let's bomb them all. Let's bomb every Muslim country that promotes, Sharia law. Let's bomb New York. How about we start there? There's 1 million Muslims in New York, according to Zohan Mamdani. And it's just hard to, it's hard to figure out where to begin with this guy. This is the worst major political figure in American history. This guy's worse than, or as bad as Ilhan Omar. I mean, this is a real frightening time. 24 years after 9/11, we have a man who's going to be mayor of New York City, promising to mobilize all his Muslim support. A guy who marched in protest, who said globalize the Intifada and river to the sea. He refused to acknowledge Israel's right to exist. And now, in the place where there are more Jews than anywhere in the world except for Israel, New York City, he might be their mayor. And that's not the worst part. He's also a freaking Marxist. He's also promising to freeze all rents, to come up with increase the millionaires tax, to drive business out of New York City. He wants to make grocery stores city-owned. He wants the city to own the grocery stores, which will, bring down prices, according to this lunatic. Everything about him is just scary. He's a little rich kid, 33 years old. His father's a professor at Columbia, of course. I think it's Columbia. His mother's a filmmaker. The guy's never had a job in his life. He's on the city council, and now he's going to be mayor if the polls hold true. There's 11 candidates. He and Cuomo are neck and neck. You want to talk about a bizarre moment in history? All decent people are rooting for Andrew Cuomo, who killed tens of thousands of senior citizens during COVID and got a little handsy with his staff. That guy,
just an Italian guy.
That's just part of his culture. He likes to kiss and hug and grab their ass. But I hate him. I hate Andrew Cuomo. I am praying he pulls this out, because this is a scary moment for America. New York City is going to be run by a man who chants globalize the Intifada in the city where where Muslim fanatics took down the towers. God, that is scary. He's been endorsed by AOC, and he's out there, and he's also just the biggest phony. Is this where he has the different accents? He's like Kamal. He changes accents depending on who's audience is. But there are people like you look at he's drawn crowds. He is brought together. This is just an insane coalition. He's got the LGBTQ crowd. I mean, the real fanatics. They get their masks on and their T-shirts, and he's brought Muslims out of the mosques and LGBTQ people out and brought them together. Which is when you see the crowd, there'll be a Muslim cleric standing next to an LGBTQ fanatic. He's promising to spend $65 million taxpayer dollars for gender affirming care for children, and fight the Trump order to stop, mutilating kids. He's promising to fight that. A devout Muslim wants to transition children. So it's a strange, very, very strange and scary coalition. But here is Mamdani changing his accents. And I think this ABC, even ABC, CBS.
This is the when he's talking about the government and dignity.
Oh, this is good too, man. This is the definition of like Marxism. He wants to make sure he promises dignity to every citizen of New York City. How the hell do you do that? Have you been to New York City lately? That isn't possible. There's lots of people there who have no dignity, and they're never going to have any dignity. But listen to this nut.
For me, when you ask what does it mean to be a democratic socialist, for me, it means to be fighting for a society in which dignity is guaranteed to each and every member of this place. And I believe that the state should play a critical role in the distribution of that dignity and the ensuring that that dignity is actually received. This is one case where Republicans would be correct. There are taxes that I want to raise. They would like to portray this as me trying to raise taxes on someone making 50, 60, 70K, which is not the case. What we need to do is raise taxes on those who have more than enough and should share a little bit more with the rest of the society. There's nothing hidden from plain view about who I am and what I want to fight for. I'm not secretly telling everyone I'm a socialist now. This is something we built the campaign around.
Oh, is anything worse than a rich socialist, a rich, spoiled, entitled punk socialist that wants to wants the city to own the grocery stores, like the bodegas? The city's going to own them? Oh, that sounds like a plan. That sounds like he wants to defund the police, of course. I mean, every crazy socialist idea he believes, he backs. And he's up in the latest poll, but I'm praying. I'm just looking at some of the other, he wants to replace police. He wants to create a new Department of Public Safety that will cost $450 million, replacing police with social workers. Of course, that plan. He pushed for city-run food stores that would cost the city $60 million, free buses, which will cost $900 million, and free childcare, which, according to the New York Post, will cost at least $5 billion. Free buses, free childcare, and no more rent increases. So, the poor landlords must be looking at this. He wants to raise corporate taxes from 7.25 to 11.5 and place a 2% flat tax on the wealthy. And many wealthy are already vowing to leave. So his most important tax base is going to get the hell out of the city if they haven't already, if this guy wins today. Here he is with his fake accents. This guy, on top of every other thing, is a complete phony. He's just an actor. Check this out.
Because I think that New Yorkers, more than they hate a politician they disagree with, they hate a politician they can't trust.
On the subject of trust, you've adopted different speaking accents in different scenarios.
But they go to their local bodega.
Is there one that's real and one that's affected?
What I would say is, as any immigrant knows, having been born in Kampala, Uganda, and then raised in South Africa and moving here when I'm 7 years old, is there are different parts of my life.
Worldwide tour is a worldwide tour is a worldwide tour.
Mamdani was talking about a worldwide press tour back when he was a rapper.
Bring the flavor to the fish, bring the flavor to the rice.
In a Disney movie directed by his mother.
Nepotism and hard work goes a long way. Here in New York City, this is how I speak, this is how I am.
Do you believe in the First Amendment, Tom Homan?
That's NBC in New York City showing you what a phony he is. He was a rapper in a movie his mother directed. God. And he's perfectly articulate and no accent. And then he turns and he's got the accent when it suits him. Just a total creep. And even NBC is calling him out. That is amazing. He could win today. They have ranked choice voting, which is, of course, a scam. But he and Cuomo are 1 and 2. Lots of people hate Cuomo. That's true. I can't believe they couldn't come up with another candidate, but that's it. Your choice is the groper, the guy who killed tens of thousands of senior citizens during COVID and lied about it and covered it up, or that guy, the insane socialist, Marxist, Muslim fanatic. How do you feel if you're, a Jewish person in New York City right now? And that guy's going to be your mayor? That is scary. All right, we got to get to this big new plan. We got a new place to send illegal aliens, because Democrats don't like it when we send them to El Salvador or deport them to their home countries. We got a new plan, and it is great. And we got to get to that moment in the WNBA. God, the WNBA, as much as Caitlin Clark has brought in a whole new audience, and she is just so fun to watch, they're hopeless. They're never going to figure it out. We'll get to that and more. But first,
Excuse me.
if you're still tossing and turning all night and feeling edgy during the day, let me tell you about CBD from CB Distillery. Millions have turned to CBD for relief because it works. In fact, over 90% of customers report better sleep with CBD. And it's not just sleep. CB Distillery offers targeted formulations for just about everything: sleep, stress, mood and focus, pain after exercise. That's a big one for me. They even have CBD for pets, and it's all made with the highest quality clean ingredients. No fillers, just premium CBD. I use the stick for my shoulder, works, and of course, the gummies help me sleep. They do indeed work. And with over 2 million satisfied customers and 100% money-back guarantee, CB Distillery is the source to trust. If you're struggling with sleep, stress, or other health concerns and haven't found relief, make the change, like millions have, to CBD from CB Distillery. And for a limited time, you can save 25% off your entire purchase. Visit CB Distillery and use promo code Callahan. That's cbdistillery.com, promo code Callahan, cbdistillery.com. You know, nothing wakes you up like losing a loved one. I know, I've been there a little too often recently. You think, what about me? You do a lot of soul searching and you wonder, will my family be prepared financially if something were to happen to me? The last thing you want is your family to worry about how they're going to pay the bills. With life insurance from Ethos, your family is protected. I know it's not a pleasant thought, but you know what's worse? Wondering, will my family be able to stay in the house? Will my kids be able to go to college? Will my wife be able to pay the bills? Life insurance from Ethos gives you peace of mind. I know it did for me. It's one big bucket list thing you get to cross off. I know traditional life insurance can be complicated, but Ethos isn't. Ethos makes it easy. So protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/Newsmax. That's ethos.com/Newsmax. Oh, it's probably just one of those, internet rumors, one of those X things that goes viral. But the first thing I saw this morning was report. Pam Bondi may indict Alejandro Mayorkas for treason. And I got to admit, I got aroused. I'm praying that happens. It has to happen. And I'll tell you why. It doesn't matter what Pam Bondi does. There's been lots of big news, big arrests, FBI's going after child predators. Obviously, there's the border. She has to do something big. She has to arrest somebody. She promised the Epstein files. It never happened. She said they were sick and disgusting and we would all see it. We haven't. We don't know why. But she has to arrest some of these criminals. I'd like to see it be Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, but Alejandro Mayorkas would be okay too, because we see the damage every day that they did to this country with their open borders. We know how hard it is to fix this problem. There are 1,272 illegal aliens from Iran in this country. There are hundreds of people on the terror watch list. Mayorkas and Biden did that. There has to be consequences at some point. That we've seen the crimes every day. ICE, these heroes at ICE are rounding up. They're still rounding up the worst of the worst, the gang members, the killers, the drug dealers who are allowed to walk into the country. Terrorists from Iran were allowed to walk into the country. And as Tom Homan says, that keeps him up at night more than anything else, that Joe Biden let Iranian terrorists into our country, and they're here and they're lurking. Yes, there are sleeper cells, but we do have some good news, because if we get them, and I think they got a bunch yesterday, they got a bunch of Iranian illegal aliens yesterday. I think it was like a dozen. We got a place for them. And where else? Florida. God bless Florida. I think maybe DeSantis will run in 2028. I don't think so. I think it's going to be J.D. Vance, top of the ticket, and I think he'll win. I think he'll be a great president. But someone should make this simple promise. Make America Florida. Do what Florida does. Do what Florida does to fight crime. Do what Florida does to help immigration enforcement. This is their attorney general announcing the plan. It's a new detention facility in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the Everglades. It's called Alligator Alcatraz. That's where the worst of the worst are going. And here's another thing Florida does. They get things done. He announces the thing will be ready. There's no building there. It's just a big landing strip. It's an old airport, an old, I don't know what, but there's no built offices and cells and bathrooms, and they're going to get it done in like a month because it's Florida. But the next time we arrest, the judges allow us to arrest like Kilmar Abrego Garcia. We don't have to send him to El Salvador. We can send him to Alligator Alcatraz. Check this out.
Attorney General James Uffmeyer here at the Miami-Dade Collier training facility. This is an old, virtually abandoned airport facility right in the middle of the Everglades. Florida's been leading on immigration enforcement, supporting the Trump administration and ICE's efforts to detain and deport criminal aliens. The governor tasked state leaders to identify places for new temporary detention facilities. I think this is the best one. As I call it, Alligator Alcatraz. This 30 square mile area is completely surrounded by the Everglades. Presents a efficient, low-cost opportunity to build a temporary detention facility because you don't need to invest that much in the perimeter. People get out, there's not much waiting for them other than alligators and pythons. Nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. Within just 30 to 60 days after we begin construction, it could be up and running and could house as many as 1,000 criminal aliens. This presents a great opportunity for the state of Florida to work with Miami-Dade and Collier counties. Alligator Alcatraz, we're ready to go.
At a fraction of the cost of the real Alcatraz. I know Trump promised to reopen Alcatraz, make Alcatraz great again, but this is a better idea. First of all, it's not in the ocean. It's not out in the water. And secondly, it's not in California. It's in Florida. And they are ready to work with ICE and federal officials to put criminal illegal aliens in Alligator Alcatraz. Great idea. Go for it, Mr. Attorney General. It's hard to believe that's the Attorney General, one of our biggest states. Just seems like a badass. I'm not used to that. When you're living in a blue state, our elected officials are busy protecting illegal aliens. Hell, we have a judge in Massachusetts who just yesterday said he will not respect the ruling of the Supreme Court and he will continue to protect illegal aliens from getting deported. And Stephen Miller said there are going to be fireworks today. So we'll be watching that. A pointed-headed, I think Biden appointee just said, no, I'm not going to do what the Supreme Court says. They will stop at nothing to protect illegal aliens. It is amazing. All right, before we go, let's do this. This is probably the funniest cut of the day here. This is a clip from a WNBA game, and the announcer, the color person, is Rebecca Lobo. I like Rebecca Lobo because I did a story one time. I don't remember what the story was about. Maybe it was the Olympics, and she was very nice to me. She was a very nice person, but she's the color, analyst. And the play-by-play is Pam Ward, I believe. And it's just a clip of a hard foul at the end of a WNBA game. And listen to what she says and then apologizes. This is amazing. Go ahead.
So they disagree with you. They do. And I disagree with them. And that's fine. That's what makes America great, right, Pam Ward? I should rephrase that. But yeah, I did think opinion are perfectly. Yes, fine. That's a better way to say it. Sorry about that.
Disgusting.
That is she pauses, she gives it some thought and says she shouldn't have said that's what makes America great. So just saying that, you get to have a free exchange of ideas, you get to disagree on things, and you say that's what's great about America. Oops. That's a Trumpism. That's a Trump phrase. I better rephrase that. And you actually apologize and say, I'm going to find another way to say that because that might make me sound like a MAGA person. And I can't do that. I'm a WNBA announcer. Just amazing. They are just hopeless. They're never going to get it. They're never going to figure it out. But good. Who cares? Screw them. All right. Anything from our commander-in-chief from, I want to get to that. Can you get that AOC? One last Truth Social from a barrage, a flurry of truth posts. And the latest are coming from Air Force One. He's sitting there. And he's posting about Thomas Massey. He had a long screed ripping Massey, the Republican from Kentucky, who is a libertarian and a kind of an contrarian, and he's not supporting the big, beautiful bill, and it pisses off Trump, and he's vowing to primary him. But I kind of like Massey, even though he is He is obstinate. He's standing in the way, but he is a smart man. But you know who's not smart? AOC. Here's Trump posting about AOC and Ilhan Omar. God, this is unbelievable. Your president, ready? Stupid AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, one of the dumbest people in Congress, is now calling for my impeachment, despite the fact that the crooked and corrupt Democrats have already done that twice. The reason for her rantings is all of the victories that the USA has had under the Trump administration. Democrats aren't used to winning, and she can't stand the concept of our country being successful again. When we examine her test scores, we'll find out she is not qualified for office, but nevertheless far more qualified than Crockett, doesn't even know her first name, who is a seriously low IQ individual, or Ilhan Omar, who does nothing but complain about our country. Yet the failed country she comes from doesn't have a government, is drenched in crime and poverty, and is rated as one of the worst in the world, if it's even rated at all. How dare the mouse, is that her nickname? I have never heard that, tell us how to run the United States of America. We're just now coming back from the radical left experiment with Sleepy Joe Kamala in the auto pen in charge. What a disaster it was. AOC should be forced to take a cognitive test like I just completed at Walter Reed as part of my physical. The doctor in charge said, President Trump aced it, meaning I got every answer right. Instead of her constant complaining, Alexandria should go back home to Queens, where I was also brought up, and straighten out her filthy, disgusting, crime-ridden streets in the district she represents, and which she never goes to anymore. She better start worrying about her own primary before she thinks about beating our great Palestinian senator, crying Chuck Schumer, whose career is definitely on very thin ice. She and her Democrat friends have just hit the lowest poll numbers in congressional history. So go ahead, try and impeach me again. Make my day. God. I guess it's just shocking because we had no president for 4 years. We had a zombie who was controlled by this dark and nefarious cabal of party leaders, and they operated the auto pen, and they couldn't get him to do anything before 10 a.m. or after 4 p.m., and he was incapable of conducting serious foreign policy like Trump is doing right now. I guess it's a shock to see a guy just so candid and unfiltered, but I guess you just kind of sit back and enjoy it. You know, he's going to keep going. He's feeling really good right now, really emboldened, and we expect more of those kind of candid, no holds barred rants. But can we go out with our last president or our last vice president on their foreign policy? Doesn't take long.
Yeah, let me pull it back up once.
Excellent. See if you can get the VP, because it's even dumber when you think that she went out there and just said
plagiarized one word.
She plagiarized one word, and she acted like it was like profound. And here's where we stand. Here's our foreign policy. Don't. If he finds that, we'll hear from our VP or our president, our last president. This embarrassment, God, it's hard to believe we made it through the 4 years, but that will do it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is the Callahan Show, and we will do it again tomorrow.
What's the message to Iran?
Don't.
As President Biden said, just don't.
Exactly. One word.